Lynch syndrome is a genetic condition in which the person has a predisposition for developing multiple different types of cancer due to mutation in a mismatch repair. Genes which play a very important role in maintaining the genetic code. If a family has Lynch syndrome, the likelihood of parents, siblings, and children having Lynch syndrome is greatly increased. Someone with Lynch syndrome can develop multiple different types of tumors. Most notable is a 52 to 82% risk of developing colorectal cancer, and in women, a 25 to 60% risk of developing endometrial cancer. However, as you can see here, they can develop tumor throughout the body. These two pictures are showing histology of colon cancers that we typically see in Lynch syndrome. The first picture showing tumor infiltrating lymphocytes at magnification of 400. The following picture is showing an adenocarcinoma or gland-forming tumor where we can see lymphocytes highlighted with white arms mixed in with the malignant epithelial cells. Colon cancers in Lynch syndrome also often have a heterogeneous appearance, meaning that they may have parts that look regular, adenocarcinoma, or medullary. So, what are MMR genes? The genes that are affected when a person has Lynch syndrome are MSH1, MSH2, MSH6, and PMS2. These genes are very important because they are responsible for correcting mistakes that were made when DNA was being replicated. When a person has Lynch syndrome with a mutation in any of the four main genes, mistakes in DNA replication will not be repaired, which leads to an increased risk of developing cancer. This is a chart outlining the genes specifically mutated in Lynch syndrome. Mutations in the MSH2 and MSH genes are most common, while mutations in the MSH6 and PMS2 are much less common. These are other genes beyond the four main MMR genes that can be mutated and cause Lynch syndrome, like EpiCAM, but they are very uncommon and very few people are affected by them. This is a diagram of the genes that could be affected by Lynch syndrome and how they relate to each other. In the set of regular MMR proteins, we see that PMS2 and MSH1 are paired together, and MSH6 and MSH2 are also paired together. These pairings are important for protein functionality and when we do immunostaining. For example, when the PMS2 gene is mutated, the PMS2 protein is abnormal, but all of the other genes are normal, and their proteins are normally expressed. In contrast, when the MSH1 gene is mutated, resulting in an abnormal MSH1 protein, the same thing goes for when MSH6 mutated and everything else shows up, but when MSH2 is mutated, both MSH2 and MSH6 either aren't normally expressed or functional, while the MSH2 and PMS2 proteins are normal. The identification of patients with Lynch syndrome can be clinically done in the laboratory through immunohistochemistry testing for abnormal mismatch repair or MMR proteins, or microsatellite instability testing, or MSI. Immunochemistry testing involves using antibodies to identify protein expression within a tumor sample, while microsatellite instability testing per-base testing to look for instability in specialized areas of DNA to see whether if the MMR genes are appropriately doing their job. Lastly, direct DNA sequencing can be done to test the individuals for the mutations that are associated with Lynch syndrome.